Hello and welcome to Talk from Superheroes. Hey everybody, I'm Andrew Ivamy.
And I'm Diana McCullum.
And you're listening to Talk from Superheroes, where every week we discuss a piece of nerdy television or film. And this week on the podcast, we are talking about the year 2002's Signs.
We saw the signs.
We saw the signs, and it did, in fact, open up our eyes. So we're talking about signs.
That happens in the movie.
They do
too.
open.
Spoilers for
eyes,
signs.
Eyes do get opened throughout the
Wow.
whole thing.
And hearts, maybe?
Hearts, maybe?
Well, you know what? We're not into it yet.
This was a blank spot on the schedule. We're going to be real with you guys.
Don't go behind the curtain, babe.
Oh, shit.
Close it.
Sorry.
There's no man back there with a blank schedule, people.
Oz
Turn away.
is, in fact, a wizard. Do not worry about it.
He's a wizard, and he really wanted to cover signs.
Do not look behind the curtain in any way.
Do not. Well, here's what actually I think is very funny about the reason we're covering signs.
Lay it on me.
We're covering signs because next week is Joker 2, Folie à Deux. So we're like, what else has Joaquin Phoenix done that like fits our brand? And he's done Signs. And I think it's very funny that Signs is a straight up science fiction like aliens movie. And then Joker is really just like regular people who just have face masks, face paint on.
Yeah.
And it's funny that like it's like no, but like Joker's like a nerdy.
It's based on based on a comic book property, but
this is way
there is nothing magical or mystical that occurs that we haven't seen it yet.
We haven't seen it. Maybe the music's parts are actually like real.
Hey,
maybe the dream sequences.
We're just basing it on our conceptions of the first film, which had no magical mystical elements.
It had no magical mystical.
There was no
elements.
mystical bond between man and machine.
There were no aliens. There was no Batman. There was no Superman.
Yeah.
But Signs is like aliens for realsies.
And we were talking about like let's do like another Joaquin thing, kind of leading into this, and it's like Gladiator is not our brand, but like he's there.
He's there. Oh, I mean he's there.
He's there.
Also, Gladiator just slaps. So I'm like, why? Also, like, why didn't we just watch Gladiator?
I mean, there's a Gladiator 2 coming out, so it's like there's not a zero-sum chance that we will or will not cover Gladiator down the road.
I mean, I actually think I've worked out our schedule until Gladiator comes out. I don't think we are doing Gladiator.
Well, you know what? We'll see what happens, though.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens,
Our
though.
lives are our own making. We're the masters of our own choices unless the movie Signs is right and everything is foretold.
Yes, we maybe are or are not masters of our own devices, and perhaps God is real?
Whoa.
Whoa.
Or we're just people in face paint. Like Joker
just
2.
hoping for the best,
One Joaquin or the other. It's up to you.
We live in a society, and it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell where Joaquin a fine line between the two different options. I'm sorry.
wanted to really like
I'm
that.
so I know I could see.
I was like,
I'm sorry.
Maybe I'll play with him on this one. And
No.
I decided not to.
You were right not to.
Thank you. I appreciate you supporting women's rights in this matter.
I always have.
He's a huge supporter of women, you guys.
Huge. It always comes up on the podcast.
If you don't want to laugh at his jokes, you do not have to. And I think that's very self-assured of you.
That's your right.
Non-toxic.
Yeah. So we'll be talking about Signs today on the podcast, leading up to next week when we'll be talking about Folie à Deux. Jokey? We're going to talk about Jokey. You know what?
Jokey.
It's going to be a good one today.
I would love to just call it Jokey the whole movie.
I didn't want to say Folie à Deux.
I don't even know if we're saying that right. I know we got duh down.
Yeah.
Folie?
Joker 2. Jokey. It's Joke. We're talking about Jokey next week. Signs today. But before we get into today's episode, we want to thank our sponsor of today's episode. We want to thank our friends over at Cuddly.
Oh my God. Do we love Cuddly? Just so you know, off the top, Cuddly is a fundraising platform that supports animal welfare organizations all over the world. And we love that so much because we're going to tell you about a wonderful pod dog named Scarboy.
Our dog is a rescue dog, so we love animal welfare organizations. We love rescues. We just love Cuddly because they raise funds and receive donations and supplies for the animals in their care. And our life was changed by our wonderful lab. We've got a black lab named Scar. He's the pod dog. Sometimes you see him in the background of the clips of these of these podcasts as well. He's a hit. He is a star. He's a charming gentleman. He is the Duke of Autumn, and he's just the light of our life.
He's beloved by everyone on the podcast network. They're so excited to see him every time they come over to the studio. And he wouldn't be with us if not for a rescue dog organization who got him out of America and safe up here to Canada. And they were like, this dog rules. Get him out of here.
Yeah. Get this dog out of a kill shelter and into your wonderful life.
Into your wonderful life. And you can help save other dogs through Cuddly, which is absolutely wonderful. So Cuddly thoroughly vets and verifies every rescue organization they work with. So unlike with other fundraising platforms, you can be certain your donation is going to an animal in need and a shelter in need, because it's also hard to be like, oh, which ones do I donate to?
It's great because it connects you to a network of great causes, right? So that way, rather than just donating to like one animal or something that showed up on your social media feed, you can go with Cuddly, and they will make everything easy, because with a one-time donation, they distribute the contributions to animals and organizations with the greatest needs each month. So it's fantastic. They take care of everything by creating this network of help, which is absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant. They work with over 4,000 shelters, and all your donations are totally tax deductible. So you're helping yourself, you're helping an animal. There's nothing. It's all great stuff.
It's a win-win. There's no lose. And now your dollar goes even further. For every $20 donated through a one-time donation, Cuddly will gift a soft and snuggly blanket to a rescue animal in need. Head to cuddly.com/TFS today to make a donation and help make a difference. That's cuddly.com/TFS. And thank you, Cuddly.
Thank you, Cuddly, for everything.
For all you do.
For all you do, Cuddly.
And now, let's get into the episode. Let's talk about signs. All right, let's talk about Signs, a movie that it is neither of our first time seeing it. We've seen it before, but we saw it again just to update and refresh ourselves. Diana, let's start with the usual question. Did you like it?
I love Signs, and I'm kind of embarrassed about it. I'm actually quite embarrassed about it, but yeah, I love this movie. It really, like, I don't even want to say it gets me, but I just really like watching it. It moves at a wonderful pace. It's funny, but it's tense. It's like, it's got something to say in a way that isn't preachy. It's like, and like, I don't even like a God person. I don't really like care that it's about God, but I also just love a script with a payoff that actually like comes around and everything like works and connects. I'm like, fuck yeah, it all came back around. It's got one of the like lower end twists, I think. The twist just happens really slowly. The cinematography is gorgeous. There's just this like grief throughout it. Yeah, like I feel like I shouldn't love Signs, but God, I love Signs. I don't know what to say. I mean, I actually have so much more to say because I love Signs, but also there's some silly things I'm going to make fun of because it's Signs. The aliens don't have any clothes on and they don't like water. There's tons to discuss. But yeah, overall, I'm giving Signs a love. I mean, if Mel Gibson wasn't here, it might be a perfect movie because fuck that guy. We're not going to talk about that much. There's not much to say. But yeah, so yeah, Signs is a love for Diana. Andrew, did you like Signs?
I'm right there with you. I unabashedly love Signs.
Holy shit, guys, this podcast loves Signs.
I love Signs. I think that this movie is visually stunning. I think that the family gives great performances. Yeah, you know, Mel Gibson is a piece of shit, and we won't really be giving much praise there. And also, even if he wasn't a piece of shit, he's just kind of the flattest one of the bunch. He's the least talented. Out of the family? Well, he's the least talented. Out of all the even extra characters, he's the least talented person on film, aside from being a piece of shit. But other than that, everyone else compensates by being absolutely phenomenal in this cast. It looks gorgeous. Just every shot, the camera movement. I think it's great. I think it's probably like, it might be the best written thing Shyamalan has done, in all honesty, as much as people make fun of this. I think that, like, Unbreakable is amazing and is sold a lot through the cinematography, as is Signs. But I think Signs is a little bit better written.
I think Signs is, like, good even without the cinematography, whereas Unbreakable is not.
Maybe. I could maybe get on board
Okay,
with that.
okay.
But I really like it. I think there's maybe like 2 moments where I'm like, you didn't quite trust the audience as much as you did in Unbreakable, and that might kind of diminish the writing a tiny amount. So there's a couple moments where I feel like they don't quite trust the audience to get it, and I would have liked that little bit of trust. But it's a small hindrance for what is overall love of this movie. And I think that like there are things to critique here, but I also think that this movie came out in a moment of cultural zeitgeist of like we're all willing to make fun of M. Night Shyamalan. It like, you know, when like someone it's like, oh, we get you enough now that we're going to make fun of you regardless of the quality of this.
Ooh, yeah, he reached kind of a too high of a point, and we were like, oh, we got to bring him down a peg.
Yeah.
Oh, Signs and or Unbreakable and Sixth Sense were both really good, but they both had twists. So now, no matter
And now this
what
one has
you
a twist,
do,
and now we're never going to not make fun of that constantly. So this felt like the floodgates breaking of like the cultural zeitgeist making fun of the Shyamalan twist and kind of looking for things to dislike about his movies. And I'm not saying that those aren't there. I paid money to see Lady in the Water in theaters.
Oh, no.
And that was a huge mistake. So like the man makes mistakes, but I feel like we started getting too hard on him a little too early with Signs.
Yeah, he earned it later.
He
But
earned it.
Signs-
He hadn't earned it yet, but we
Signs is
gave
good.
him too much criticism at the time. It's good.
It's good. Let me ask, just because you touched on it, what are the 2 things that you think are the bad? Because I'm going to guess one is the flashback to cutting off the fingers.
I think cutting off the fingers is yes. That's one of it's all flashback. It's the cutting off the fingers flashback, and then the flashback to after we see the flashback of him with his wife, which is a reasonable flashback. Then we get the lateral flashback to him stating the theme of the movie, which is whether or not you believe in signs. And I was like, yeah, I got that by the signs that she said and the sign that's next to the bat. And your speech earlier about signs.
And the name
and
of
the
the
name of the
movie
film
is
is called
Signs.
Signs.
Yeah.
So I did not need the extra flashback about signs.
Yeah. I mean,
so the
fact-
finger flashback and the signs flashback. Those are my big 2.
I mean, I wonder how much. I mean, he was pretty riding high by this point. Like, I think he had a lot of freedom because I'm like, yeah, the fact that everything that is like insulting is a flashback. I'm like, do you think they made him put that in then? Like, because it's not because like things that are a flashback don't have to be in the script. You're not filming anything extra. You're just cutting back, and you might be like, you know, you could have a producer be like, I didn't remember he cut the fingers off. Flashback.
I think it might be just kind of an instinctual move using the same playbook as The Sixth Sense, which The Sixth Sense does it after you realize that he's been dead the whole time. But in that it flashes back and it recontextualizes those scenes to be like, in case you didn't notice, he doesn't interact with an object and no one says anything to him. And it flashes back in a way where it's like, we all remembered those scenes, but now we should be recontextualizing them. But if you take that playbook, make it paint by numbers, and then write your next movie, I could see Shyamalan being like, well, this worked then and it will work now. It'll recontextualize it. But it's just the context. It's not recontextualizing if it was just the context the entire time.
Yeah, when I watch Signs a second time, I don't see things I missed before.
Yeah.
Whereas in Sixth Sense, you kind of are saving someone from having to watch the movie again.
Yeah.
To be like, oh man, wait, you never touched anything, and you watch it again, but like the flashbacks kind of save you from having to do that. But yeah, you don't watch Signs again. You're like, oh, all the stuff I missed.
All the signs.
All the signs. Literally, the only sign I didn't remember was the fact that M. Night Shyamalan, who kills the mom, is a veterinarian, and that's why they don't take their dog to the vet. Which is like a lovely touch. Oh my god, this seems like a lovingly crafted script.
There is some tight, small world building just about this town, how everything connects. Like, I really like the place that they've built here.
Yeah, just very believable that, like, you know, Merrill is this small-time celebrity because he played in the minor leagues for a while. Like, going to the bookstore, and the bookstore keepers, like, know the kids, but not, like, too well. They're not, like, family members or anything, but they, like, you just treat everyone like you know them. Yeah, it's a believable small town.
The local annoying guy, who is the one that they were worried was making crop circles, is signing up for the military to get direction in his life at the recruitment office.
He's got his whole movie going on over there.
And I think that that's brilliant too, to be like, yeah, the person who is just kind of like a directionless scamp in a small town is also often who the military targets in recruiting and is kind of like their target demo in that scenario. So him signing, I'm like, that's really smart micro storytelling that I think really works. Yeah.
Yeah. The whole...
And even the pacing of this movie as well, it just starts out kind of going. Like it starts out with with like the crop circles almost immediately, the dog dying, like there's an immediate emotional connection in several scenes back to back very rapidly in a way that didn't feel forced or contrived. It felt like we were just kind of jumping onto a story already in motion.
Yeah, and like it also does a very good job of immediate, like in terms of set dressing and such. There's immediate environmental storytelling. You know, Mel Gibson's sleeping alone in a bed, but he has a picture of him with a wife and his family next to his bed. There is a like indent on the wall where a cross has recently been removed. Like you can infer a lot that isn't said, which is, and they actually say these things eventually, but it's really nice that they're like, we're not going to like just blatantly say these things. We're also going to show you, and it makes the world feel completely lived in.
Yeah, I agree. It feels very lived in, and it all looks so beautiful too.
It looks beautiful. I will say, since you mentioned the dog dying, this might be the only movie in the world where I'm not super upset 2 dogs died. And I don't know how he managed to do that.
I was still upset, but I wasn't broken.
Yeah. I don't know if it's because like they never show the dogs being like cared for, especially. It's not like the kids seem to like overly like, we love the dogs. The dogs are just there. They never get quite in focus or a shot on them. You don't hear the dog yelp when the first one gets killed. You do hear this Isabel get killed, and I don't care for that. That was more upsetting than the dog who attacked them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do find that like I'm not sure how he managed to make me not just like want to walk away when 2 dogs die in a movie.
Well, what I think he does a lot in this film is showing, and it's something that works really well in a monster kind of a monster light, a creature. There's aliens that we don't see for a lot of the movie, is focusing the action on the actors. And not the action itself. Like he is someone who is not focusing on the gun. He is focusing on the trauma that violence causes. To kind of use a simple metaphor there, where it's like it's not about the moment. It's not about stabbing a dog. It's not a scene about stabbing a dog. It's a scene about seeing a father recognize something is wrong. Seeing a father know that something is wrong with his family. Of seeing children react in trauma and have to process and deal with that. Because in the moment itself, there's very little emotion involved in reactionary trauma. It's actually largely adrenaline and fear that causes us to be in horrifying situations where fight or flight mode kind of occurs. And, fighting off of a dog as a child is one of them. The acting and the trauma and the interesting part in terms of a story comes afterwards. And that's where his camera always points. And I really love that. And it's the same thing, like, in the basement with like focusing on the flashlight and focusing on all of the character reactions, even focusing on, Joaquin's reaction in the closet when they first see the footage from like that birthday party.
Oh, that's such a classic. That little bit of a scene is just such perfect, like just enough of the alien, him like falling back into the coats in surprise.
And like that moment is burned in so many of our minds. Like everyone remembers that moment from Signs. I think it's really quite iconic how it is shot, the birthday party footage, the tube TV in a closet, Joaquin Phoenix's huge reaction. So seeing it and then seeing someone's reaction to it is the most important part. And I think that the camera is always pointed the right place in this movie, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I think that's a great analysis of why this movie like works on an emotional level, because like, yeah, it's not trying to be like a horror thriller about aliens trying to kill your family. It is really about the family coming together and processing their grief and getting through a tough time together that just happens to be aliens.
Yeah.
But it also does such great horror movie things of like barely showing the alien in a very like Jaws-esque way. Like, you know, you see the alien on a blurry tube TV, you see the alien in the reflection of a TV, you see just his hands come under a door. You very rarely like see an alien. Which is like such, and like it doesn't feel like it's like just trying to hide the fact that he didn't want to show, like didn't know what the alien would look like, or like,
or, you know, didn't have the budget or the CGI technology
it all feels
yet.
wildly purposeful.
You know, I'm sure if you're the financier of this movie, you're like, you're not going to show it often. Great, we love how that's going to affect the budget. I'm sure that is a nice bonus, but it also feels very story motivated.
Yeah, but I love what you're saying about I think Down in the Basement is the best example of like you just get that little jump scare of the hand on Rory Culkin. And then it just cuts to the flashlights. Yeah. And then it's the like aftermath of them like getting the coal chute like all bandaged up again. Not bandaged, but boarded up again.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Boarded up. And I do want to say as well, kind of like before I get on to a goof, I do want to like say one pretentious art thing perhaps, which is that I really love the cinematographer of this movie, Tak Fujimoto. Just does a phenomenal job. He was also the cinematographer of The Sixth Sense as well. And we've kind of mentioned this a little bit with Zack Snyder in the past, where a lot of people who really like Zack Snyder actually really like the cinematography of Larry Fong.
Yeah, they do.
And I do think that part of the issue with like kind of the rise and fall of M. Night Shyamalan's career is the incredible work of Tak Fujimoto, who I don't believe worked with Shyamalan after this film. So it's just, this looks incredible. The camera's and you know, film is a collaborative process. So I'm sure that, you know, Shyamalan working with Fujimoto is a very important collaborative issue as well. But where the camera is pointing, how it moves, how much is in frame all of the time. That is one thing that I really love, is how much this family, there can still be movement and a lot going on, but they manage to get all of them in frame simultaneously, no matter what's happening, using foreground, background, and midground. And like, it works really well. There's a moment when the dad comes home, and I can't remember if it was, I think it might have been after cutting off the fingers, and Joaquin Phoenix is sitting on the couch in the foreground reading the recruitment pamphlet he's been given. And the kids are on a stool in the background doing the dishes and playing with one another. And then the dad sits at the kitchen table kind of like slumped and in shock. And all of them are living their own separate lives and story arc, but they're all in frame together. And there's a lot of moments like that where it's like the dad carrying the kids in while a dead dog is in the foreground, and then the brother is coming out of the house holding potato salad. It is just this beautiful movement where there's always something going on. The father walking up to the veterinarian's house and like looking through the window, and the camera panning over through the window to see the truck idling in the driveway. The amount of information that is framed in different depths of the frame is just really good storytelling and visually really interesting. And I think that he deserves a lot of the credit for The Sixth Sense and for Signs.
I can get behind that. Yeah, the camera work is like so interesting without being like, look how interesting it is.
It's not pretentious. I'm making it sound more pretentious than it is.
Yeah, the like this guy would be like, Andrew, no, it's not that pretentious.
Yeah.
It's just good work. I just did a good job, he would say. And he did. He did do a good job. Everything you just said is absolutely true. There is an economy of storytelling here where scenes do get to sit for a long time, and they don't cut to close-ups, and they don't do over the shoulders a lot. You really do just get to like live with the family, but it's not like also like, look at this oneer, because it's not like long one takes either. It really is just like you want to feel their lives.
Yeah.
And you do actually get a sense of like, here's 5 unbroken minutes with this family because we've got them all in the shot at the same time. And it really does like put you into their shoes.
And it adds meaning to character movement. Like there are a few moments where Joaquin Phoenix is not kind of near his brother, and something goes wrong, and we kind of sit in silence while he gets up off of a couch and walks across a room to his brother. but sometimes he doesn't do that. And that really adds intentionality and meaning as well, to be like, when do you decide to console your brother? When do you decide he needs you? When are you wrapped up in your own world? And it's not just a matter of function to be like, well, we need Joaquin over there because now we're going to cut to a close up, or that's where the conversation should happen. It feels like no, he walked over there because emotionally that's where he feels like he should be. And we're going to watch that moment with him, and there's a breath to it and a life to that, I find. Yeah. So I really adore how all of this looks in a shot.
It all looks good. The script is good. I would even say there is like a very subtle storytelling happening in like just costume design that I really like. There's like just like one thing that really caught my eye, which is this is kind of a story about a dad who's like, he's going through all this grief of losing his wife and kind of like drops the ball on being a dad. The brother is kind of not so much raising the kids, but caring for them a lot. And Morgan, the son, is like basically raising them now. He's cooking dinner. He's like protecting them from the dog, his sister from the dog. He's taking his sister to the store. Like he's like become a father figure. And they dress him in very like adulty clothes, not like a blazer. But he also in some scenes is wearing almost exactly what Mel Gibson is wearing. It's like the exact same plaid. In a way that isn't like, and in most movies that would be like, oh, he wants to be like his dad. But in this movie, it is very much a like, oh, he is replacing his dad. He's taking over his father's duties in this movie. Yeah, there's like a pretty like a full day where they're wearing like almost the exact same plaid shirt. And normally that would be like such a no-no. Like, no, the cast members have to be different. So it's absolutely purposeful that they put Rory Culkin in almost the same outfit as Mel Gibson in this scene. And I really liked it. It really like highlighted how much this kid has had to like pick up the slack for his dad.
Wow, I did not notice that. That's brilliant.
Yeah, so I just like every bit of this movie is really carefully thought out and loved.
Yeah.
And it's actually like making me really sad how much we make fun of it now, even though I'm absolutely about to make fun of certain parts of it because we've been pretty praiseworthy.
Yes, absolutely. We're pretty praiseworthy. And I guess while you're on that note of praise, Rory Culkin and Abigail Breslin, phenomenal as the kids in this movie.
Woo!
Hot damn, they are phenomenal. They carry a lot of this.
Shit. So every Culkin just sounds like that, huh?
Every Culkin's got that voice that and it's the same and it always pops on screen.
Are they just like, they're not just like cloning Macaulay?
They're apparently not.
You don't think?
I don't think so. I don't know.
But yeah, it's crazy how much he sounds like Macaulay Culkin. It blows my mind. But also, yeah, just an incredible performance. Yeah, he's doing such a good performance of like, I've stepped up and I'm like worried and I'm taking care of my sister. And then she does such a good performance of like, I love my brother, but I'm still like innocent and a little bit silly. But also I'm very funny. God, she's so funny.
It is
with this like deadpan delivery, but she also feels silly, but it all feels like the same person.
She has done more before the age of 20 than most of us will in our entire lives. That is, like just the fact that like she has had a run between the ages of 6 and 14 that most movie stars would kill for. Like Little Miss Sunshine, definitely maybe Zombieland, like just funny, charming. Hit. Incredible stuff.
Yeah. Why don't they have girlfriends? God, that fucking moment kills me.
Her comedic time. Yeah.
Her comedic Contaminated.
Just how she hits contaminated.
When she's like, they're dancing on TV and she shows the little dance.
So charming.
But yeah, Rory Culkin, also incredible. Joaquin Phoenix is really good in this.
Oh my God, yes.
I love Meryl. Meryl is just always stepping up and fucking working.
Here's what's wild about this. I really liked this movie when it came out. And I know that it is fashionable, and rightly so, to dunk on Mel Gibson, who is just a piece of trash. But I sincerely forgot Mel Gibson was in this movie. I thought it was just Joaquin Phoenix raising 2 kids.
Oh.
I legitimately remember him being the star of the movie.
Wow.
And that is not me trying to revisionist history and act cool. But like I legitimately...
But you were able to wipe Mel Gibson from your brain? Like,
yeah.
You know what? Fuck that guy. Deleted.
Yeah.
That's actually be a pretty cool superpower.
That would be not bad. But no, you need to remember. The bad things as well. But I thought Joaquin Phoenix was the absolute star of this movie.
Huh.
Yeah.
that's really fun that like we both had a weird memory of this movie. Because remember how the second it was over, I was like, "Where's the scene where they hold the attic closed?"
It's like 30 seconds of screen time that you saw on a DVD once from a deleted scene.
It's a deleted scene, but it's mostly Joaquin, and I remembered it, and I was really upset it wasn't there.
It's weirdly a core memory for you.
Yeah, so like I have an extra memory, and you have a deleted memory. So combined, we probably remembered this movie correctly.
That sounds right. Shall we goof?
Yes.
Let's goof.
How shall we begin this goof session?
Here's one that I want to goof on, and I'm still gonna goof in a way that defends this fucking movie.
Love it.
All right, because the goof everyone made at the time was making fun of the fact that the aliens are allergic to water.
Yes.
All right, everyone made fun of that. To be like, why would they come here? Our planet is 80% water.
A lot of water.
It rains. The water is a big part of this planet.
We've got plumbing.
Why-
We're mostly water.
Why would they? Is what everyone said, to be like, that is dumb. And I am going to defend that and say that, like, we've been to the moon. Like human beings are trying to go places that are 100% murder places.
Yeah, that's true.
If next week NASA was like, we actually found out that 20% of Mars is fucking dope for humans, we would be clamoring to be like the first nation to plant your flag on that 20% of sweetness. You know what I mean? Like if any planet in our solar system at any moment turned out to be 20% awesome, but sometimes you need a roof because it rains a thing that hurts you, the space race would be lit the fuck up. In the random permutations that planets can be, 20% success is fucking huge.
I mean, that is
huge.
Definitely. I mean, think about like, I know there's not that many planets in our solar system, but we're the only one even close to livable. Like,
Yes.
most of them are just pieces of shit.
Yeah.
They're just garbage. So yeah, there's a bit, maybe these aliens are in a bit of a space race. Like, oh shit, look at that one.
Yeah.
Let's go. And they forgot to pack their coats, I guess.
Maybe.
They don't own spacesuits? Like, it's the fact that they're naked, babe. It's the fact that they don't have...
Yeah.
And I actually, maybe I can forgive the nakedness because they do have an inherent camouflage ability, which they would not have if they had clothes on, I assume.
Ooh, that is fair. That is fair.
And the camouflage ability is very good and seems helpful.
Especially for the recon team, at least.
For the recon team. But
Once they invade,
just-
we don't see the invasion. If invaders had like fight suits, that would make sense. You know, like
the recon team doesn't get them.
Yeah, because you have to be camouflaged and scope things out.
So you're camouflaged and you're scoping things out, but you're also leaving crop circles and letting people know you are absolutely there.
That's a mixed bag.
That's a mixed
That's a real mixed bag.
I just really think you have to have a suit on.
I'm not gonna defend the nudity. I will not defend the nudity of this film.
Even though I have just come up with the whole camouflage thing is actually a very good reason. I never thought of that until this moment, but I'm like, oh, maybe I can forgive.
You can take a coat on and off. You know what I mean? You can take a coat on or off.
I mean, they make a good point that, like, you know, they aren't going to the places with a lot of water.
Yes.
They're like, oh, crop circles.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
No, nothing around.
Everyone made fun of the fact that Earth is mostly water. And I'm like, but it's a good chunk is not. And that is wildly valuable in space.
I mean, also, most of the things we want aren't things that, like, we drink.
Yeah.
Like, if we went to a planet, we'd be like, oh, man, get us some lithium. And lithium probably really hurts if it gets on your skin. Like, you know, the things that we need and want from planets would be like, ow, my skin.
Yeah. There are planets with just like, you know, acid rain that would burn our skin off. And if 20% of it was chill, we would be there. We would very quickly be there. And then also, like, I like that we don't get the lore of these animals or these creatures because it's like, maybe their planet is destroyed. Maybe they don't have another option. You know, there's plenty of, like, sci-fi about humans on like an Ark-like ship, and you find a planet that's a 20% match. You settle on that planet.
Oh, yeah. You know, we got Battlestar, we got Stargate. We're always just going to other planets and being like, what do you got here?
What do you got? Is this decent?
And then someone tries to kill you and you leave and you don't know. Like, these might be the kind explorers. Like, as they said, like, until they started poisoning people, they weren't doing shit.
Yeah. And also, how about this? They might be getting ready to start terraforming. Terraforming could also be a thing.
Get rid of this water, they say.
Yeah, they already have gases they shoot out of their bodies. What's not to say that they're going to show up with a bunch of things and then terraform the planet, which is also a thing that can happen. So I don't think people should have dunked on the water thing as much as they did.
I mean, it's still fun though.
It is fun. It's fun.
If
It's
you
fun.
if you like fun.
Fine.
It's fine.
I'll allow fun.
But I agree that it's not as big a leap. I mean, I got really sad at one point just because we're talking about the resources because Rory Culkin is like, they wouldn't shoot nukes because they don't, or they would do a ground assault because they don't want us to shoot nukes and destroy the resources. And I was like, yeah, they wouldn't want that. And then I was like, man, I'm less worried about alien invasion because we've already fucked this planet so bad. I bet they wouldn't even come here anymore. I feel like aliens would show up and be like, that one's going bad. It's like when you pick up a pear and you're like, oh no, bruised.
Or we're not ripe yet. You know what I mean? Maybe
depending on what you're looking for.
Maybe they're looking for some irradiated planet.
Oh, they're like, oh shit, look at their atmosphere is getting pretty dirty.
Yeah.
They're running out of oxygen.
If we can bait them into firing like 3 more nukes.
3
more.
That's gonna be the sweet spot.
Oh, then Earth will be tasty to them, maybe, perhaps. That could be a thing that they're doing.
Maybe.
We just don't know. We
Just
don't know what's in their
give us
heads.
Any information?
They hate water, we know that, and they're scamping around. I'll make fun of them for that. I don't know if they need to be the recon team. I don't know if they need to be scamping as much as they are.
I don't know if they need to spend an entire week in Mel Gibson's crop field.
I agree.
I think they're
on the roof. You're on the roof. You're
for an entire week.
skittering on the roof.
Yeah, like I get like, you go through town once.
Yeah.
And you get an idea. But like unless you've crash landed, which obviously they did not. They got ships, they're making crop circles. There's not much to see here, bud. This isn't New York City. This isn't Mexico City where I think that's where the birthday party was. Like you've seen it all.
Yeah.
You saw the crops, you saw the house. Get out of here.
Just get out of here.
And then you go to Ray's house. Ray's house is the exact. You went inside Ray's house?
Yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan's house and went through his pantry? What the fuck are you doing, man?
Get out of there.
Get
the fuck out of there.
That's all I have to say.
It's a pantry. You shouldn't be in there.
Like, are these like the children? Did they like run away?
What
if this is a child alien?
There is an inconsistency with they're very animal-like. It's like you close a door and they'll problem solve and go around back. And I'm like, but also I feel like they could just knock a door down. Why not just knock a door down?
I could knock a door down.
If you're intelligent enough, like they don't brute force anything. And I'm like, that's pack animal-like. But you have spaceships that you've highly coordinated. Like you know how to knock down a door. You know what door. You're telling me your spaceships don't have doors? There's no door there?
How
did you get in or out? Like you've seen a door.
You've seen a door.
You can conceptualize door. Yeah. So I think that there's some silliness about how animal-like versus intelligent life-like.
Yeah, you don't have to travel. If you're traveling through space, even if you're like, I can handle water, it's fine. You should still be like, oh no, a door. Like that's dumb.
What are their plans for gun? You know what I mean? Like
I think that's actually more the reason they would have left America than water. It's like they have way more guns than water.
Yeah.
You're gonna go to like southern states with farmland. You're gonna just get shot with a shotgun, buddy.
You need to bomb at least a little bit from space.
Yeah, this is why this movie had to be about a reverend because it's like the only guy who doesn't own a gun, probably.
Yeah. And even then, I was still like, you should own a gun. Yeah, you should.
There's no like coyotes. There's no.
Yeah, like I'm not even a huge like go get a gun guy, but I'm like farmers own guns. Like there's dangerous wildlife that can come through. It's like you're creating crops and food and have a family and dogs and like you probably have a hunting rifle somewhere around.
Yeah, Meryl's thinking about joining the army. He's probably held a gun.
I think that there should be gun
you would
somewhere.
Think there to be gun. I have several goofs on what we've just discussed. Where shall I begin? Slight goof. I don't know. So I'm confused that he was a full-time reverend. That was his job. But he also had crops? That feels like 2 really separate jobs.
Yeah. Crops is a full-time job.
Like, I'm not wrong. That's a full-time job.
You're right that is a full-time job.
His brother only moved in when the wife died.
Yeah.
So I guess the wife was like a full-time farmer while he's reverending?
I guess. Or it's like he's a reverend at like the smallest church imaginable.
Oh, there's not a lot of reverending to do. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not a very full. You have to like mass like once a week.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's.
You got to supplement your income with crops.
I'm gonna stop right here and say I don't really know what the day-to-day of a father looks like in a church. I don't know if they do or do not have time to also harvest and sell crops. I don't know.
I don't know about a reverend. I know more about priests. I used to be an altar girl.
Okay.
So I know a little bit more about the day-to-day, like full-time of a priest, which is fuller. I mean, at least in our town, because, you got you got a mass a day. Sometimes there's 2 or 3. You got baptisms. You got weddings. There's it's actually a pretty full week. It's a big social calendar.
Okay.
Funerals.
Yeah.
It's a big social calendar. It really depends on how big your congregation is.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, what's he doing if there's funerals and weddings during harvest season? You know what I mean? Like, you can't.
Yeah. Or also, but then again, I wouldn't be surprised if this was, his raised on family home. Like, if him and Meryl, were raised here and they kind of just, you don't get rid of crops.
Yeah.
Maybe just hire someone to
They were
them.
pretty neatly uniform and
They
mowed.
were really
you know what I mean?
cared
Like, that was a
for.
classic, we are almost at the harvest season corn.
Well, what I find mostly confusing about it is I don't understand how he could have been a farmer and a reverend. But now that he's not a reverend, he doesn't seem to be farming very much either.
No.
Even before the whole alien situation.
Yeah.
Don't see a tractor. I don't see any other animals. Yeah.
You know what we don't see?
What don't we see?
What we don't see. The thing that would have, because these aliens, they're out there scamping in the cornfields.
They're loving it
all
with
right?
the cornfields.
I've seen those big fucking watering things. You know those? I don't know what they are. The thing that are 2 big spider legs that kind of rotate across a field and just it's like a big car wash. It's like 100-foot long car wash
For
that
your
kind of
corn.
rolls around the corn or whatever crop you have.
Water Roomba.
Yeah. Or the alien murder machine.
No, we live here, they'd say.
Yeah, just one alien is I look like corn because of the camouflage. Just completely melted.
We have some sprinklers across the street from us that go off at exactly midnight, which is also when we walk our dog. And sometimes we'll go out there and we'll just be walking him and lose track of time, and we come home a little wet. Just like the aliens could have been.
They easily could have been.
Sprinkler goes off, you get wet. That's how it works.
Yeah, where are those big things?
Where are those big
Whatever those are called.
things?
Yeah, I know very little about being a reverend or farming, but I know that one of them involves massive amounts of watering. All right, and that would be a detriment
that's
to
some
the aliens.
healthy looking corn. It's been watered.
It's some great looking corn.
Great looking corn.
Yeah.
Now, we're still on aliens. A thing I genuinely believed the first time I saw this movie, and not even disbelieve anymore.
There were so many.
Where do you think
there
I'm
was some
going
double negatives there? I don't even, don't believe it. There was a few. I don't.
You get to try to figure me out.
Okay.
And that's your lifelong goal.
That is my goal.
Good luck, sir.
That is my goal.
I still don't know if Mel Gibson was maybe kind of supposed to be an alien or something.
Excuse me, what?
He's just so not human sometimes. He feels more like Data. He just doesn't understand. He doesn't use contractions. When him and Meryl are about to run out of the house, Meryl's like, all right, we're going to make a bunch of noise to scare what we think is a regular human. He's like, explain noise. We're just going to be we're going to beat you up. He's like, explain chaos. Just these and it's, I would kind of understand if it was I'm a father who lives in a monastery, like a monk. But you were a reverend with a wife who lived in town and was raised in a social setting. He feels like a robot.
I got when he was like, I don't curse. It's not going to sound believable.
That's fine.
That was fine. But yes, I agree. He's certainly playing it way too stiff.
Way too stiff. Yeah, there are definitely moments where I was like, I think he's an alien.
Alien might be a big swing.
His daughter's psychic. Something's happening here.
Yeah, there is also something. You know what? There straight up is paranormal, extra human powers that are occurring here.
Yeah. The mom saw the future. The daughter sees the future. God is real. He might be a robot or an alien. His brother is so strong that he hits the farthest home runs in the world.
Yeah. This
is a
They're all
weird-ass
connected.
family.
The son doesn't breathe in the poison.
Yes,
Yeah.
even though it clearly went right up his nose.
It clearly was right.
I
There's
didn't
some
even see
pores and stuff.
I didn't even see Mel Gibson wipe his face off.
We have no idea what this poison's like.
But,
one thing's
it's
for
really
sure,
good.
God is real. God is real.
God is real.
And the Lord is our God, and not these aliens' gods.
Yeah, fuck these aliens. Says
Fuck these
God.
aliens says our God.
Our God.
Which implies a pantheon of extraterrestrial gods that are also real. Because if God is real and did make us and is rooting for us in the alien war, it tells me that someone made them who is rooting against our God, which now we're dealing with a pantheon.
Fuck.
And
This is some really multiverse Thor.
I want to see that shit. I want to see
How did we get Glass before we got the pantheon of science gods?
science gods that are in fact real and have taken sides in the war. They've taken sides in the war.
Have taken sides. But I will also say, a thing I really like about this movie is that like the premise of the movie seems to be like God is real. And I'm not a very gaudy person, but like this is like, a movie set where in a world where there's aliens and God's real. I'm like, that's absolutely fine. What I will say I like about this, it's not preachy. It's not like Catholic God is real, even though he's a reverend. It really does feel like, no, humanity has a God. It's not necessarily Catholic God. That's just like,
that's a stand-in for where this guy works.
Yeah.
That's his job.
Because like
the movie isn't about his job. The movie is about his faith.
His faith, but also just like faith in general, not faith specific to this, which I actually like was a really cool vibe to feel. It didn't feel like preachy or like it's trying to convert people or like it's like God will save us always. It is kind of just like, what if there's a fucking plan? That'd be cool. What if things happen for a reason?
I do agree. Despite him being a, did they say reverend? He's not a priest. He's a reverend.
No, priests can't marry.
Ah, okay. So despite him being a reverend, it feels very non-denominational in its themes.
Yeah, it does.
Which is refreshing.
Yeah.
Which is refreshing. Yeah. Yeah, we've seen movies with no religious leaders in it that have been more preachy about a specific religion.
They'll be like, Jesus was maybe an alien, or he died for your sins like your brother's gonna, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. All the stories.
I can't make a parallel right now.
We all know them. But yeah, it felt very non-denominational, which I agree was very kind. I don't necessarily love that, like, at the end they're like, it is real though. But at least it's non-denominational real.
I'll accept that in the universe of signs, it's real.
Yes. You know what? Yeah.
Because you know what?
Aliens are also real in the universe of signs.
I also don't think ghosts are real, but I'm not mad at the Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You just kind of got to accept that a movie lives in its own little world.
That's a nice way to look at it.
That's how I'm looking at signs. I saw their signs, not my signs.
Yeah. I like you looking at it like that.
Their signs. I've got a quick we skipped over her when we were doing like how good actors are in this. Cherry Jones as the police officer.
She's phenomenal.
Holy crap. So funny during the scenes about just like investigating, and so just like heart-wrenching during the flashback about the wife being hit by the truck, like, but so still like a professional, like still doing her job. But you can tell like she doesn't have much to do with aliens. Like she's not much she can do. But like that whole part about like, female Olympians. God, it's so funny.
She plays the emotion and the comedy both really well.
Both really well. And I was just really happy for her. I just really loved this of like, oh, so you like love female Olympics, huh? You get it, girl. Like, you're like thirsting over these ladies? I feel like.
Or it's like the week of the Olympics.
And
she's like, I've been watching it all. You know what I saw earlier today? Like, it's just like, it's all you're thinking about, you know?
Yeah, did you know that a man can pole vault and lose because his penis hits the thing?
Yeah, we all know the dick vaulter.
We all know the dick vaulter. It could have been that guy. He's on your roof.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Anyway, she's so good in this.
She's absolutely terrific.
So I just wanted to shout out to her because that's like just like an underrated performance because she's not in it very much, but she's great.
And just carries a lot of intention with her character as well, of like feeling every moment prior and every moment going forward and what she's trying to convey to this family and how much she cares for them, but not too much. Like knowing the brother, appreciating that he's here. Like it's very nice what she brings.
Yeah, a really nice outsider perspective on what the family's going through, and we feel like we're part of them, but also like know their story a little bit better.
Well, let's go in for the close. Let's ask the final question of what would you change? So now that we've discussed everything we've discussed, what would you change about this if you could change anything? Before we do that, though, we will remind you, as we do every week, to please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podcast Addict, or wherever you might get your podcasts.
Wherever you're listening to this, you can probably, I'm willing to bet, leave us a 5-star review. And you can also, what I will say for sure, is that we will appreciate it.
Oh, hell yeah.
So that's what's gonna happen. You're gonna hit 5, and we're gonna be like, woohoo, 5.
We will celebrate because we do read them, and it makes us feel really warm and good inside, you know?
Makes us feel good.
It makes us feel good. It makes us feel things, which is a nice way to be. And that's a free way to support the podcast. If you do want to support the podcast monetarily as well, you can do that over on Patreon, which is a monthly subscription service where you can subscribe at whatever is in your budget and get cool bonuses for doing so. Like at the $1 level, you will get our webcomic early. At the $3 level, you will get these episodes early and ad-free, which is fantastic. And at the $10 level, you will get an exclusive bonus episode of this podcast every single month.
Every single month. This month we did Borderlands. We watched it so you don't have to. And when you sign up at any of those levels, you get access to the whole back catalog of whatever level you've purchased at.
Yes.
That you've joined at.
Yes. And
so as soon as you sign up, you get all of the old episodes of Talk from Superheroes.
All the old episodes, and you also get all of the other bonuses as well. So if you sign up at the $10 level, you also get the $1 and $3 bonuses and everything that goes on at the prior level. So check out the options over at patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. That is patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. And thank you to all of our current and future patrons.
Oh, thank you, patrons.
Thank you.
You guys rule.
Rocking it.
You're as good as Signs.
And whoa, look
Yeah.
out.
And we love Signs.
And now let's go in for the close. Let's ask the final question. What would you change about this if you could change anything? Diana, what would you change?
My changes are kind of what I just touched on. I think Mel Gibson is going to act less alien, so I'm not distracted thinking there's a twist that he's partly alien. He'll use more contractions. He'll understand human emotions a little bit better, even if because you can be like cut off emotionally, like he shut himself down when his wife died, clearly, but he's still not acting like a human being. Like, it's very distracting. I'm also going to make the daughter not be psychic. That's just too many things happening. She can think her water tastes bad, of course, but like her actually like having seen her brother having this asthma attack and almost dying is just pointless. Doesn't add anything. That's too many things going on. I'm just going to take that away. So those are my 2 big changes. And then my silly change, but I actually completely agree in and makes this movie better, is they're going to put more boards on the doors. I know they mentioned that they were low on boards, but the front door had a single board on it.
That's not enough boards.
The main entrance to the home. And then you had like the windows completely covered. 1 board? No. I was actually genuinely very upset about it. Didn't even push the couch against it. They were too busy making 18 meals for supper, which must have taken 3 hours. So those are my changes. Mel is less alien. Daughter is not psychic. There's more boards on the doors. Andrew, what would you change about Signs?
I can get on board with all of this. I wasn't upset about the boards, but I would take more boards on the door. I would say I have 2 changes. One of which would be we just get Mel Gibson out of here.
Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah.
Not only is it just not fun to have him around as an actor, I also think he's the least talented performer who also... You know, sometimes you can be the least talented performer and be right for the role. I also don't think he's right for the role. I think it's poor casting and a poor performance, or at the very least, a mid performance. I think that the era appropriate would have been great in the year of this movie and could carry this role a lot better. I would have loved to have seen Robin Williams in this role.
Whoa!
Which I know might seem like a wild swing, but of that time...
he did a few dramas that were just...
He did, like, What Dreams May Come is one where he really carries, like, the emotional grief of, like, losing a wife and a loved one. The paternal, the tough but paternal nature of, like, a Good Will Hunting. Mm-hmm. I think that there is a lot about this character that, like, Robin Williams was very good at kind of conveying conveying a thoughtful sadness that really worked in a lot of his dramatic performances. And I think it really could have been strong for this role. But that's just me kind of fantasy casting, that like everything about this character reads to me as a like the one actor that, and there are many talented actors, today as there was, 2004 or whenever this was made, that I'm sure could do a fantastic performance. But that's the one thought that jumps out to me in that regard. So I would say that.
I love that change.
So that's one of my changes. And then my other simple change is to don't be as heavy-handed with the clairvoyance. And I would like it to be up to the individual viewer. Because when he has this speech to his brother where he's like, there's two types of people, the people who believe in luck, and then maybe there's a good outcome or a bad outcome. There's a 50-50 chance. And the people who believe that, everything is a sign and everything is connected. And obviously that's the theme of the movie, is how you interpret signs. And he used to be a man who interpreted them as faith. Now he interprets them as meaninglessness. And if it was just a little bit vaguer, if it was just like a little bit of like as simple as like, my wife said a strange thing to me and it kind of syncs up with this moment. And then if the daughter wasn't clairvoyant in a weird way, and like all of these other things that come together, if the movie kind of ended with a like, that was enough to give him his faith back. And if you as an audience member think that that means that faith is real, that's fine. And if you as an audience member thinks that that means that he had a lucky dice roll, that's fine as well. I would have liked an ambiguity around a greater power when it comes to the ending.
Okay, yeah. I can get behind that.
So,
and like less of those little like flashbacks of like the fingers cut off and
yeah. Obviously that's just a contextual thing. But yeah, a little more ambiguity and recast Mel Gibson.
I mean, definitely recast Mel Gibson. Love that. Excellent. We've done great work here.
I think we have.
Robin Williams would have put more boards on those doors.
He also would have.
He would have been fucking hammering away.
He would have been bebopping and scatting those boards all over the place. Let me tell you. Well, that is going to be it for this week. I think we've made this movie better. Next week on the podcast, we're going to be back and we're going to be talking about Joker 2, a.k.a. Jokey.
Jokey 2.
So we'll be talking about that next week on the podcast. Before we go, I will let you know and remind you that on November 2nd, we are doing at the network a 24-hour live stream for charity. It's called Extra Life Game Day. We'll be streaming live on Twitch for 24 hours. We're going to be doing live recordings of all the podcasts on the network with Q&As afterwards. Then I will be playing and hosting some video games throughout the night. And we'll have a few other fun surprises. We're asking for donations as it's all raising money for the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals. And we're giving you cool bonuses when you donate as well. Every $20 donation, you get entered in a raffle to win really cool prizes that we're going to be drawing live on the stream. And if you're a fan of the podcasts on this network, which, my God, I hope you are.
You've gotten to the very end of the episode.
I really hope you're not just hate listening. I know 3 of you do. But
we see.
We see you. But if you're a fan of the podcast on this network, if you donate $50, not only will you get 2 entries in the raffle prize draws, but as well, you will get access to all of the 2023 bonus episodes of all the podcasts across the network. So you'll get a year worth of back catalog that you can play around with if you want to listen to the bonuses for multiple podcasts on the network. $50 donation will get you that. It's all pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You get that, like, definitely. It's not part of the raffle prize. It's like, that's
locked in.
That's locked in.
That's locked in.
And you might win a prize on top of that.
Which is pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. One of the prizes is my book.
Yeah, one signed copy.
I'm gonna
of
sign
Diana's book as well.
I'll sign it.
So lots of cool stuff going on. Please give what you can. You can check out everything over at extralife.fromsuperheroes.com. That is extralife.fromsuperheroes.com. And until next week, if you want to get a hold of me, you can find me online at Ivimey, Ivimey.
You can find me on Twitter and Tumblr at Words of Diana, and Pics and Instagram and Threads at Pics of Diana.
And you can find both of us most places at From Superheroes, and check out everything we create over at fromsuperheroes.com. We'll talk to y'all next week.
Bye.